If you looked up the phrase boy band crazy in the Urban Dictionary, you would see a picture of me. Back in the late 90s, I was that girl. The posters, the CDs, the magazines. I was an MTV watching, TRL screaming superfan. I was everything you would imagine a boy-crazed teeny bopper would be, and worse. My band of choice was NSYNC because I was obsessed with Justin Timberlake. So much so, I actually wrote in my high school yearbook that my life ambition was to meet him. In the summer of 2000, NSYNC was on their No Strings Attached tour, and to my absolute horror, they weren't coming anywhere near my city in Connecticut. But I happened to notice that they would be in the Boston area, and I also noticed that Harvard happened to have a summer school program in the same area. Coincidence? I think not. I was accepted into the program and came to Massachusetts just in time for the concert. Even now, looking back, it's kind of amazing to me that my obsession with Justin Timberlake played a part in bringing me into a relationship with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But that's exactly what happened. Let me explain. I was pretty pleased with how my summer was going and how everything worked out for me to see NSYNC. But one day, I needed to study, so I went into one of the common rooms on the Harvard campus to catch up on some reading, and I noticed the TV was on. So I looked at the screen, and when I realized I was in touch with Charles Stanley, I thought, oh great, another preaching program. Just some background, I grew up in a Christian home and had always believed God existed. But he always seemed so far away to me. God was up there somewhere doing his thing, and I was down here doing mine, and I was fine with that. Listening to Charles Stanley that day was probably the first time I really understood what having a personal relationship with Jesus really meant. I remember sitting through the whole thing, and at the very end of the program, he gave an invitation to pray the prayer of salvation out loud. So I did. It just made perfect sense to me. I was an imperfect person, yet a perfect God died on the cross for me and cared about me on a personal level. Little did I know the impact one prayer would have on my entire life. It would be way more dramatic if I told you immediately I became a super Christian teenager, but that's not really what happened. There were a lot of bumps and stopping points on my spiritual journey to knowing what it meant to be a committed Christian. But I believe that first prayer with Charles Stanley made me a lot more open to the things God had in store for me. When I was 15, I had so many ideas of what I wanted to do with my life, but honestly, the idea of being involved with a Christian television program was the furthest thing from my mind. Now, working on Turning Point International all these years, I know that God showed me back when I was 15 what an impact media can have on people's lives. It makes doing what I do not just a job, but a ministry that makes a difference. It's why I love what I do.